I'm fired up. You know why? Because the autumn wind is a pirate. Yeah, I just listened to Autumn Wind like 18 times before I did this video. And you know what? I've realized something.
Airing it out. Carr. It is caught. Henry Ruggs is gone. Touchdown Raiders.
I've come to the conclusion that I was wrong. Derek Carr isn't just the 13th best quarterback in football.
Blitz is picked up. Jones is open. Jackpot, baby.
Derek Carr is a stud. S-T-U-D. Stud. That is what Derek Carr is. And right now, he is a true MVP candidate in the NFL after just 2 weeks. I've seen enough. I'm done.
I'm really not into dreams anymore, okay? I'm into fucking nightmares. You guys with me on that?
I've seen enough. I'm done with the hate. I'm done with people calling him replaceable. I'm done with Derek Carr being criticized for the lack of Raider success over the past 10 years.
And you tell him one thing. Just win, baby.
Derek Carr is the reason the Raiders are 2-0. Derek Carr is the reason for optimism in Raider Nation. And I'm standing up for Raider Nation here because Derek Carr is a stud and deserves to be given the recognition of a top 10 quarterback. In this video, I'm going to give you my opinion, my thoughts, and a rant about why Derek Carr is a top 10 quarterback and is actually an MVP candidate after just 2 weeks of the 2021 NFL season. Before I give you my argument for why Derek Carr is a stud, a MVP quarterback, Gronk, spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more NFL on BLV and comment in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about Derek Carr. Derek Carr is a certified top 10 quarterback. I know that it's crazy to think that a quarterback has yet to hit his prime until he's 30 years old, but I actually think the case here with Derek Carr. I think he's actually become the best Derek Carr yet at 30 years old, deep into his NFL career. Derek Carr has had great seasons in the past. He's played like a top 10 quarterback in the past. But I think we're seeing the best Derek Carr yet. And the reason he's not really getting recognition for it is because for most of his career, he hasn't been on a winning team. He hasn't had a winning record. And it's hard to justify that a quarterback like Derek Carr, who is now playing his best football years into his career, is playing his best football and is actually getting better. But that's the case with Derek Carr. You can truly make an argument right now, after just 2 games, and I've seen enough, just 2 games, that Derek Carr is playing his best football of his career, that Derek Carr is an MVP quarterback right now, and that Derek Carr is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. After 2 games this season, Derek Carr leads the NFL in passing yards. He is averaging over 400. 400. That's 4 and a 0, 2 zeros. Okay? 400 yards per game. At his current pace, he would rack up 6,944 passing yards and 34 touchdowns. He has well over a 100 passer rating currently and is one of the best quarterbacks through the first 4 weeks. And it's in a way that's not just from statistics, and it's not just through his system that he's a part of, and it's not just because of the supporting cast. When you break down Derek Carr's success, it has more to do with Derek Carr and less to do with everybody around Derek Carr. Derek Carr this year is surrounded by not a ton. When you really break down the Raiders roster, when you really break down what he is dealing with in Las Vegas, and you compare it to the best quarterbacks in football, and you compare it to the guys that he's most often compared to, clearly Derek Carr is outclassing those players. So you start with the conversation of Derek Carr and what he's playing with. Okay, so one of the big questions I had about the Raiders this offseason was how are they going to retool and restructure an offensive line that they got rid of some of their key pieces. They got rid of Gabe Jackson. They traded him, see ya, to Seattle. They got rid of Trent Brown. They traded him to New England. He's going to go block for Mac Jones. And Rodney Hudson, he's playing amazing in Arizona. He's also gone. So that's 3 of your top 4 offensive linemen gone. The other one, Richie Incognito, hasn't played. He's been inactive. He's been hurt. He has not been in the lineup consistently for the Raiders. The other players, all right, so who do you replace them with? Who do you replace these guys with? Obviously, you're going to go out there and you're going to make some big moves to try to restructure this offensive line to protect Derek Carr. Well, that's not exactly what they did. At right tackle, you do draft somebody in the first round, Alex Leatherwood, but he hasn't exactly been great, right? He's no Tristan Wirfs, let's just say that much. Denzel Good's been injured, so you're dealing with backups at that spot. He was already a backup to begin with coming into this year, right? Replacing the starter. You have Colton Miller. He's still there. Okay, cool. But you got backups at right guard, backups at left guard, a rookie right tackle, and Andre James at center, who really is very inexperienced for an NFL center, who they thrust into the role. So an offensive line in front of Derek Carr that's not exactly phenomenal, right? It's not exactly the 90s Cowboys we're talking about here. So Derek Carr doesn't have the greatest protection. Wide receivers. Very unproven. Bryan Edwards barely did anything last year. Mid-round draft pick a year ago. Has potential compared to T.O. and Randy Moss at the same time. Although that's a joke. He hasn't exactly played like Randy Moss and Terrell Owens at the same time. He's played okay. He's been decent. He's been reliable at times. But nothing special, right? On the other side, Henry Ruggs, who's basically replacing Nelson Aguilar as the downfield receiver with the Raiders. Nelson Aguilar was their best pure receiver last year. He's gone. He's in New England. They didn't replace him. John Brown quit on the team. He said, I don't want to play for you. I'm not going to start. So they didn't really replace him. They still have Darren Waller, who's amazing, right? Darren Waller's unbelievable. But that's the only real guy you have who's a real number one threat. Henry Ruggs is a speed receiver who's one-dimensional. Bryan Edwards is just kind of like an unknown right now. And Hunter Renfrow is a decent slot, but he's not Cooper Kupp. He's not Chris Godwin, right? The running back situation, Kenyon Drake was signed to big money, but he's nothing special, trust me. He's nothing special. Josh Jacobs has only really played 1 game, right? And didn't do a heck of a lot. And Josh Jacobs, even he, I think, is a little overrated. He's okay. He's good at most, but he's not great. He's not 2006 LaDainian Tomlinson we're talking about here. So, Josh Jacobs and the rest of this offense, who are you really dealing with for Derek Carr? An elite tight end, a pretty decent slot receiver, a couple okay serviceable starters, a weak offensive line, a very good scheme with Gruden there calling the plays. Honest. So Derek Carr is the reason they're winning. He doesn't have Hall of Fame receivers. He doesn't have Hall of Fame offensive linemen. He doesn't have Hall of Fame run game. In fact, he has probably the worst run game they've had in a while. In fact, he probably has the least experienced receivers he's had in a while. In fact, the offensive line's probably the worst it's been in a while. So, Derek Carr is running this show, and he's the reason the Raiders are winning. And when you talk about an MVP, most valuable player, that's what Derek Carr is, because he is making big-time throws. He's protecting the football versus good defenses who force turnovers. The Ravens, the Steelers, they force turnovers. Derek Carr's protecting the ball. Derek Carr's making big throws in tight coverage versus cornerbacks like Marlon Humphrey, versus safeties like Minkah Fitzpatrick, with guys in his face like TJ Watt, like Cam Hayward. He played 2 of the best defenses coming into the year and shredded not 1, but 2 of them. He went to Heinz Field and beat the best defense in football. Beat them down. He shredded them. He made them look like Swiss cheese. So to me, Derek Carr is an MVP for these performances. His team wasn't better than the Steelers. He outplayed Ben. That's the reason they won. His team's not that much better. I don't even think it's better than the Ravens. He outplayed Lamar. They win that game. First week, big time pressure, Monday Night Football versus Lamar Jackson, the former MVP. They're coming to your house. You're expected to lose, but you win that game in OT in dramatic fashion, on your shoulder, on your clock, on your watch. So for me, when you look at all he's done, all he's accomplished this year, and moving forward, I think he's going to continue to have success. And you look at the surroundings of Derek Carr, and you compare him to guys that we put in the same conversation with Derek Carr, right? Kirk Cousins, 0-2. What's the big difference between the Vikings and the Raiders? Matt Ryan, 0-2. What's the big difference between Atlanta's team and the Raiders? When you talk about Baker Mayfield, I mean, yeah, they lost to the Chiefs, but Derek Carr's outplayed him, right? Like, there's only so many guys in this league that can really be put in the spot that Derek Carr is being put in and be 2-0 versus the opponents that he's played in the circumstances that he's been put in. So for me, when you add that all up as a formula, Derek Carr is top 10. Derek Carr is MVP material. Let me know in the comments what you think. It's Mitch. Thanks for watching. Gronk, spike that like button. And don't forget to subscribe for more NFL on BLV. Peace.